Good morning, students. A very, very warm welcome. Today we will be starting with a new chapter, and the chapter is called State Government. So, if you all recall, students, what we've covered so far is that there are three levels of government, right? There's one at the national level, one at the state level, and one at the local level. So, in this chapter, what we'll be covering is that how does the state government work, right? What all happens at the state level? Well, when you hear that, you might have often heard that there is a chief minister, there is a governor, right? There are these MLAs. So in this particular chapter, what we will be knowing about is that what is the role of the governor, how is the chief minister elected, what is the role of the chief minister, how is the cabinet elected, what is the role of the cabinet, right? The whole process, their responsibilities, and how it all comes into play. That's all this chapter is about. It's a very interesting chapter, right? So let's begin. So, first, let's talk about the legislature, right? And we're talking about legislature at a state level, students, right? So, in this particular chapter, we will be looking at everything from the state perspective, right? So, firstly, what is a legislation? Legislation is the process of making and passing laws, right? And legislature, when I say legislature, students, I'm talking about that body, right, which is formally chosen, and they have the authority to make rules and regulations, right? So legislature is the formally chosen body of people having the authority to make rules and regulations. Okay, so that was about legislature. So what is the legislature? It's the body of the people who formally have the authority to make rules and regulations for us, for the state, right? Now, students, state legislature in India can be of two types: unicameral or bicameral. Unicameral or bicameral, as in that they just have either they only have uh, the bicameral is when they have both lower house and the upper house, that is the Vidhan Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad, also known as Legislative Assembly or Legislative Council. So Uttar Pradesh, UP, is a bicameral, is an example of bicameral legislature, which has both Legislative Assembly as well as the Legislative Council, upper house and the lower house. The state has both. But there are in fact, most of the states in India, they are unicameral, right? That means they just have one legislature, right? So bicameral are very few. You have Uttar Pradesh, you have Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. That's about it, right? And while all of the others, they all have unicameral legislature, right? Now, students, um, before we move ahead, it's very important for you to know um, that so the lower house and the upper house, they're known by different names, right? So the lower house is the Vidhan Sabha, also known as the Legislative Assembly, while the upper house is the Vidhan Parishad, also known as the Legislative Council. So just at a very quick level, to give you an insight as to what we'll be delving into, we'll be talking about the state, the legislature in the state, right? How laws are made, right? How laws, rules, and regulations are made, how they come into existence. Then we'll talk about the bicameral legislature, right? Uh, which includes the lower house and the upper house. Okay. What's the role of the Vidhan Sabha and the Vidhan Parishad? So let's begin. So we will first talk about legislative council, students, right? So legislative council, as I just told you, it is also known as Vidhan Parishad, right? See, it is also known as Vidhan Parishad. It is the upper house, also known as the legislative council. So council is known as the Vidhan Parishad. It is the upper house, right? Now, Vidhan Parishad, students, exist only in 7 states of India. Okay, others have unicameral legislature. All right. Now, members of this Vidhan Parishad are known as members of Legislative Council, MLC, right? Now, this Vidhan Parishad has indirect elections, right? And the tenure is of 6 years. The tenure of every MLC, every member of Legislative Council, is for 6 years, students. And MLC is also, you'll be very proud to know that uh, our sir is actually running for the elections of the MLC, right? Founder sir is running for the elections of the MLC. Okay. Um, so on this note, this becomes even more interesting, I suppose, for all of you, right? Now I'll talk about the composition of this MLC, right? The composition of this legislative council, right? What does this council look like? Who is this council made of, right? So 1/3 of the council is made up of MLAs, members of Legislative Assembly. You remember the lower house? So 1/3 are people from the Legislative Assembly. 1/3 of the people are from the local bodies. 1/12 of the members are elected by graduate. 1/12 of the members are elected by teachers from all the levels, from schools, universities, right? Um, Colleges, all the levels. And the remaining 1/6 of the people are elected by the governor. Okay. Now, students, this is a permanent body, right? And after every second year, right, within every 2 years, 1/3 of the members retire. So its composition is such that new members keep on coming. It's a permanent body, it never completely dissolves, right? And 1/3 of the members retire every second year, and new ones keep on coming. Okay. Then the meetings are presided by the chairman, and in the absence of a chairman, the deputy chairman would preside. All right. So I'll just give you a very quick recap of Legislative Council. So Legislative Council is also known as the upper house of the Vidhan Parishad, right? It is existing in only 7 states of India. Members are indirectly elected. They are known as MLCs, members of Legislative Council. The composition of council is that it has uh, 1/3 of the people are elected by the MLAs, 1/3 by the local bodies, right? 1/12 by graduates, 1/12 by teachers and professors, and the remaining 1/6 by the governor, right? Then it's a permanent body, right? And 1/3 of the members retire every second year. Therefore, it is always it's a permanent body, it never completely dissolves. And the meetings of the Legislative Council are presided by the chairman. And in the absence of the chairman, you'll have the deputy chairman, right? So this is about Legislative Council. Now we'll talk about the Legislative Assembly. So Legislative Assembly, students, is the lower house, the house of people, right? It is also known as, if you all recall, it's also known as Vidhan Sabha or the Legislative Assembly. All right. So now, students, state is divided into a lot of constituencies, right? And during elections, members are elected from each constituency, right? And those who get elected, they become members of legislative assemblies. These are MLAs. For the legislative councils, you had MLCs, members of legislative council. For the legislative assembly, you will have MLAs, members of legislative assembly, right? So state is divided into constituencies. All right. Constituencies, state is subdivided into a lot of constituencies are basically areas. And from every constituency, members are elected, right? And those who finally get elected after voting, they become MLAs, members of Legislative Assembly, right? There's direct voting for this. And the number of MLAs from an area depends upon the population. So any state cannot have more than 500 or less than 60 constituencies. Okay, from every constituency, one member gets selected. So you cannot have more than 500 or less than 60 constituencies. Okay, then students, the number of seats, right, depends upon the population of the state. And the political party that wins more than half of the constituencies forms the ruling party. while the other forms the opposition. Okay. So the one that gets the majority of the vote becomes the ruling party, and the others form the opposition. And also, students, we also have a lot of instances of coalition governments. Coalition government is when one party fails to get the majority, right? So when one party is failing to get the majority, what happens is that two or more like-minded parties who who think that their ideologies and their policies can actually find a common ground, they come together, right? They collaborate their votes and they form the government. This is known as the coalition government, right? So you have elections, you have MLAs who come who you have first, the state is divided into constituencies. Every constituency, one member is elected. That member forms becomes the member of legislative assembly, right? Then the party that wins more than the highest number, the more than half of the constituencies forms the ruling party, while the others who lose forms the opposition. If one party fails to get the a majority, then two or more like-minded parties often come together to form the coalition government, right? And the assembly is presided over by the speaker or the deputy speaker. While you had the chairman for legislative council, right? For, if you all recall, so you have the chairman for the legislative council. For the legislative assembly, students, you have the speaker or the deputy speaker, right? Now the tenure is for 5 years, and it can also, although under extremely special circumstances, it can also be dissolved sooner, right? But normally it's for 5 years. And so what happens is that after the elections, the members of the ruling party, they elect leader who becomes the chief minister of the state, and the chief minister then elects his ministers and allocates portfolios to them, right? So after the chief minister is elected, the he further elects his not elects, he chooses his ministers and gives them portfolios. For example, ministry of agriculture, ministry of human resource development, right? uh, so all of these ministries are allocated by the chief minister, who is the leader of the majority party, the ruling party. Okay. Then the chief minister, students, the chief minister and the other ministers collectively are responsible for running the state. Now, what's the role of the governor in all of this? If you've heard, so every state has a governor, right? Now, governor is a nominal head, students. Governor is he's the one, he's the representative of the central government in the state, right? So he is appointed by the president, right, in every state. And the governor is he's given the responsibility to ensure that state is functioning smoothly, right? All right. So now we'll talk about the functionaries of the state. What are the most major important roles when we talk about the state government? We have three: the governor, the council of ministers, as well as the chief minister. Okay. So first, the governor, as I just said, he's a nominal head, right? Now, governor is to state what president is to country, right? So if you all recall, president is the head of the country, but the prime minister is the head of the state. So similarly, students, the chief minister is the prime minister is the head of the government. The, if you all recall your previous classes, president is the head of the country, where your prime minister is the head of the government. Now, similarly, in a state, students, the governor is the head of the state, while the chief minister is the head of the government, right? Therefore, it is said that he's the real head of the state. But officially, everything happens through the governor. But the real head is chief minister. He's the one making decisions, right? He is just someone who's overlooking everything, right? And so any bill that is passed by the state legislature has to be approved and signed by the governor, right? It cannot become a law without the governor's assent, right? And he's appointed for a period of 5 years. Okay. Then let's look at the chief minister. Chief minister is the real head. He advises the governor on the council of ministers that are to be selected, right? He assigns portfolios, appoints the deputy chief minister if required. Okay. Then you have the council of ministers. So what about the council of ministers? So council cannot be more than 5% of the members of the legislative assembly, right? There is a cap on how many members you can have within the cabinet. And now, students' council is of three categories, right? One, you have the cabinet ministers, then you have the ministers of the state and the deputy ministers, right? So, cabinet ministers can have more than one portfolio also. For example, you can have one person who's the head of communications, as well as he can be the minister of agriculture, right? So he can have more than one portfolios, right? And he is assisted by ministers of state as well as deputy ministers. So council has three categories: cabinet, ministers of state, as well as the deputy ministers, right? And the council of ministers, governor, and the chief minister form the functionaries of the state. Now, the MLA student, they meet in the Vidhan Sabha. Okay, the MLCs would meet in the Vidhan Parishad, but MLAs would meet in the Vidhan Sabha, also known as the Legislative Assembly, right? So what happens is that when all of these, um, you know, elected representatives, when they meet, so they discuss on a lot of issues. There are a lot of deliberations. People question. So there is a lot of questioning happening. For example, if you ever get a chance, students, I would encourage you to watch the Lok Sabha channel or the Vidhan Sabha channel. So you get to know a lot of things, such as the kind of proceedings that are going on, what kind of questions are the other parliamentarians putting up. So they put up a lot of questions, and then other ministers also have to answer. So, for example, if a particular place is facing electricity issues, right, or water issues, or they have lack scarcity of water, questions are put up that what is the ministry doing to ensure that so and so doesn't happen, and the minister is responsible to answer, right? So there is a lot of discussions, a lot of deliberations on laws, on what should be done, what should not be done, right? A lot of questioning happens, and a lot of answers are also given. Okay. And all of these students now, politicians often have a reputation of going really haywire, right? So you need someone to coordinate all of them, right? So that is the role of the speaker. Okay, so speaker plays a very, very important role. The speaker coordinates the entire assembly. He or she ensures that it's going very smoothly, right, and not in a rowdy manner. Because if they were left to it, you would not know what would happen. The ruling and the opposition were just given all the red lights, all the green lights, right? So yeah, the speaker coordinates, right? He ensures that everyone gets a fair chance to speak. He ensures that he can also um, organizes that which topics need to be discussed first, and then the follow up. Okay, so that is about what happens in a meeting. Now let's talk about how a law is made. Okay, so in the assembly, MLAs make, ratify, and amend laws. Right. So these all of these um, elected representatives, they ratify them, they make them, and they amend the laws. Okay, so it can be a bill, a proposal for a new law, or to amend an existing one. Anything. Okay, anything can be introduced in the house, whether it can be a new bill, something that you want, right? An existing one. Anything can be introduced in any of the houses. When I say any of the houses, it can be the upper house or the lower house. Okay, so and the members are, they have debates, they make changes, and they finally put it to vote. Okay, and if it's approved in both the houses, you have a law. Okay, but you don't have a law, the governor needs to sign it first. So once it is signed by the governor, it comes into operation. So now, students, you might be wondering, if it's come to operation, how do people know, right? How do people know? So law is implemented when what happens is that it is published in the Gazette, and it is sent to all the government officials who ensure the implementation of the updated laws. Okay. um, Students, in a democracy, people elect their representatives, send them to assembly, right? So if they are unhappy, they can voice their displeasure and demand changes in laws. There are a lot of ways through which they do that. You have protests, you have these days journalism, mass media, right? There are a lot of ways in which people can express their dissent. And because they are the leaders are elected by the people, they are responsible, they are accountable to the people, right? And that is the role of the state government at the state level. Okay. So they need to be responsible. Okay, very quickly, you all, I live in UP, and also my students are living in UP. That's what I assume. So this is just a general knowledge on Uttar Pradesh, the current situation. The governor is, this is completely out of text, but I believe it is very important for all of you to know. So the governor of Uttar Pradesh currently is Srimati Anandiben Patel. Okay. Uh, then in Vidhan Sabha, the chief minister of the state is Yogi Adityanath, and the speaker is Hriday Narayan Dikshit. The deputy chief minister is Keshav Prasad Maurya. Leader of opposition is Ram Govind Chaudhary. He belongs to the Samajwadi Party. Right? That was Vidhan Sabha. That is your legislative assembly. Now, if I the lower house, for the upper house, that is the Vidhan Parishad. You have the chairman, who is Ramesh Yadav. The leader of House is Dinesh Sharma, and leader of opposition is Ahmad Hassan. He's again from the Samajwadi Party, right? The leader of House, Mr. Dinesh Sharma, he is from BJP. In fact, yeah, okay. So this was just a bit of extra knowledge. I hope you all enjoyed and you got insight into how our government works. I really enjoyed teaching you this particular topic. I hope you all have a very nice day, and thank you so much.